So somebody wrote to me just the other day and asked how concerned should we be with attacks against the United States? And I want to be very clear on something. I think at this point, the threats against the United States from other countries like Iran, like Russia, China, I think the threats somewhat fizzle down. I don't think we're at such a high risk anymore. And I want to explain why in just a moment. But first, all I ask is if you enjoy these daily updates, do me a favor. Just one thing, it takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button. Now, here's what I want to address. Over the past few months, I've been talking a lot about threats against the United States, potential attacks on U.S. soil. These could still happen all the way up until Inauguration Day, which is January 20th, 2025. We got about 70 days left. Here's the problem. We still have the Biden administration in office. It's a lame duck session. I don't think they are going to do much over the next 70 days. I think they're just going to bide their time and then they'll be out. I don't think Iran attacks the United States. Not now. But why? Simple. President-elect Donald Trump will not stand for an Iranian attack on the United States, whether it's on a U.S. base in another country or on U.S. citizens here on our soil. He's not going to stand for that. He will send the full weight of the U.S. military over to Iran and to eliminate them. That is what he will do. He will not back down from Russia. He will not back down from China. President-elect Donald Trump is that person that is a man of strength. President Biden pulled out of Afghanistan in a botched attempt, and things went bad. We left billions of dollars of equipment over there. They can do what they want with it. Instead of bringing it back, instead of transferring it to another country, we left it. Donald Trump won't do that. Now, the biggest threat to the United States is actually not a physical attack. It's a cyber attack. But again, doesn't matter what kind of attack it is, Donald Trump will not stand for an attack on the United States. Whether it's a cyber attack or a physical attack, he's going to do something about it. Okay. So where does that put us? Well, here's what we know. According to the Biden administration, we need more money. We need more funding to go to our counterterrorism task force. We need more money going to prevent cyber attacks against the U.S. people. We need more money for all that. Well, Donald Trump says, well, we have the money. Stop giving it to the illegal immigrants that came into the United States illegally, that are here trying to work illegally, staying at a hotel that the county and states are paying for, eating the food that, again, the states are paying for, that taxpayers are paying for. And let's stop giving them food cards. Let's stop giving them cell phones, okay? If they want those things, they have to figure out a way to get them themselves. But again, people can't work. So Donald Trump says, well, if we just send all those people back to their home countries, we're going to have a lot more money. So one of the things that he's planning on doing is he's going to implement a mass deportation event. This could see tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of people leave the country. But what does that do for us? Well, the big thing, more money. We now have more money that we can use those resources and put them in different things. Like, what about into our counterterrorism task force, into the FBI, into Homeland Security, into our U.S. defenses? Build up our stockpile of missiles and ammunition. Make sure we have the best fighter jets, best tanks, right? Best naval fleet. That's what he's saying. We need to come at these countries at a position of strength, not of weakness. Right now, the United States is helping out Ukraine. We're helping out Israel. We're not in any war, not like we need to be. But according to reports, Donald Trump doesn't want to go to war. What he wants to do is just show the other countries that we mean business. We're not going to stand for it. If you want to come at us, all right, that's your right, but we're going to stand up. We're going to fight back. And we'll make sure, if we can, you will likely be eliminated. Now, the threats against the United States. The longer the war with Israel goes on, the more people are upset. You see protests, Israeli protests, Palestinian protests. You see all these different protests around the United States in colleges and in front of police stations, in front of courthouses. Right? You see so many. Right? The protests aren't going to stop as long as this war continues. The same thing with Ukraine. When this war between Russia and Ukraine first started, when Russia first invaded Ukraine, what was this, 3-4 years ago? What happened? What happened then? We saw protests. We saw rallies. We saw potential threats to the United States. Donald Trump wants to get rid of this. Not get rid of the people. Not stop peaceful protest. Not stop a peaceful rally. But make sure it's a protest or a rally on something that is happening here in the United States, that we have something that we're really doing with it. Not we are somewhat helping Ukraine. So, where does that put us? Well, one of the things I've said for the past several months is that the United States, we are at the highest threat level we have been in decades. According to the FBI and Homeland Security, we have never been at a higher threat level than we are right now. This is also one of the reasons why there was an Iranian plot, a murder for hire against Donald Trump. They didn't want him to be president. They don't want him to be president. And according to reports, they'll do whatever they can to prevent him from becoming the president of the United States. Again, we have about 70 days. I don't know what it's going to look like, up until then. I don't know what's going to look like after that. But I can tell you that the Secret Service has their job cut out for him. They're going to have to protect him at all costs. Much better than the way that they did when he was campaigning and they shot him in the ear back in the summer of 2024. So, again, we're going to see what happens. The one thing I can tell you, though, there's still a threat. The United States is not out of this. We still have about 70 days before the transfer of power from the Biden administration to the Trump administration. It's still going to take time. The Biden administration and the Trump administration still want to make sure the American people are safe, but at the same time, there's other things that they're worried about too. What's going on in Ukraine? What's going on in Israel, in Iran, the U.S. border, the U.S. economy, right? So many things. So, we'll see what happens moving forward, but that is what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.